Hello, friends. I am Neeraj, and today I have brought you an episode from the cult classic American suspense series Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Today's episode is titled The Portrait of Jocelyn. The story begins with a husband and wife, Mark Halliday and Debbie Halliday. The two arrive at an art gallery just as it is closing. The gallery staff tells them that the gallery is already shut for the night, but Mark explains that he has purchased a painting that he wants to gift to his wife Debbie on their wedding anniversary. Debbie happily tells the staff that they were married just 1 year ago, so this is their very first anniversary. The staff finally agrees and opens the door for them. Mark tells the staff, I bought painting number 128. The employee goes to bring the painting while Debbie waits excitedly, repeatedly asking Mark what the painting is about. Mark smiles mysteriously and says, You will lose your senses when you see it. A few moments later, the staff brings painting number 128, and truly, Debbie is left stunned. But Mark is shocked too, not with happiness, but anger. This isn't my painting, he shouts. Whose portrait is this? The staff insists that it is indeed painting number 128. Upset and disturbed, Debbie walks away. Mark grabs the painting and leaves the gallery in frustration. Soon after, Mark visits a man named Jeff and asks him, This is Jocelyn's portrait, isn't it? Jeff stares at the painting carefully and says, Yes, it looks exactly like Jocelyn. Jeff is actually Jocelyn's brother. Jocelyn was Mark's first wife. About 4 years ago, she disappeared mysteriously without leaving any trace behind. Mark and Jeff searched desperately for her. Jeff even hired a detective, but Jocelyn was never found. Jeff then reveals something shocking. A few years ago, he had received a letter from Jocelyn. At the time, she was supposedly living in Switzerland with another man. Mark angrily asks, Why didn't you tell me this earlier? Jeff replies, Because I couldn't bear to see you suffer anymore. Jocelyn hurt you enough. Now you're happy with Debbie. It's better if you forget her. The next day, Debbie stares deeply at Jocelyn's portrait. Mark tells her to remove it, but Debbie has become deeply insecure. She says, Jocelyn was so beautiful, I could never be like her. Mark tries to comfort her by saying that Jocelyn was unfaithful. Just then, Jeff calls Mark and informs him that the gallery owner revealed something strange. The portrait of Jocelyn was painted by a new artist named Arthur Klein. Apparently, the painting had accidentally been placed where Mark's original painting should have been. Jeff says that Arthur Klein lives in a town called Shell Harbor. Debbie immediately believes that Jocelyn must be living there too. Mark says he never wants to see Jocelyn's face again, but Debbie insists that unless they confront the past, it will continue haunting their marriage forever. Reluctantly, Mark agrees. Soon they arrive in the New England town of Shell Harbor. Mark visits a real estate office and asks for a cottage to rent for a few days. The agent hands him the keys to a place called Wilman Cottage. The moment Mark hears the name, he freezes. 4 years earlier, he and Jocelyn used to live in that very cottage. Mark and Debbie enter the house. Debbie opens a wardrobe and discovers Jocelyn's coat and scarf still hanging inside. Fresh flowers decorate the room. Mark notices a statue of Jocelyn standing nearby. Both of them are deeply disturbed and confused. Then suddenly someone knocks on the door. It is Arthur Klein. Arthur politely explains that he accidentally left one of his statues inside the cottage. Mark tells him to take it. As Arthur lifts the statue of Jocelyn, Debbie brings the coat and asks, "Perhaps this belongs to your wife too?" Arthur smiles strangely and says, "Yes, it belongs to my wife Jocelyn." He then invites Mark and Debbie to his house before leaving. Debbie insists they should meet Jocelyn immediately, but Mark looks exhausted and emotionally broken. He says he needs rest first. However, later that night, Mark secretly goes alone to Arthur's house. Arthur sits there drinking heavily. He behaves strangely and says with a twisted smile, "Perhaps you came here to see my beautiful wife Jocelyn too." Mark becomes uncomfortable and asks where she is. Arthur says, "She's upstairs." He loudly calls out for Jocelyn, but no one answers. Then Arthur laughs eerily and says, "You really thought my beautiful wife would walk down those stairs?" Mark demands answers. Arthur pours him a drink and says, "First drink this. It drives people mad." Finally, Arthur reveals the horrifying truth. Jocelyn is dead. Mark falls silent. Arthur explains that Jocelyn was extraordinarily beautiful, and she knew the effect she had on men. He takes Mark outside and points toward a distant spot. There lies Jocelyn's grave. Arthur suddenly collapses emotionally and confesses, "One day, Jocelyn came home with another man. She laughed at me, humiliated me, and demanded a divorce. I couldn't bear it anymore, so I killed her." Mark slowly walks closer to Arthur and whispers, "Yes, that is exactly what happened. But you weren't there that night. No one was there except Jocelyn and me." Arthur suddenly asks, "How did you know that I killed Jocelyn?" At that moment, Mark attacks him violently, but suddenly Jeff appears and points a gun at Mark. The truth is finally revealed. Arthur Klein is actually a detective. A few days earlier, a landslide in the area uncovered Jocelyn's buried body. The police suspected Mark all along, so they created this elaborate psychological trap to force a confession out of him. The detective handcuffs Mark. Broken and defeated, Mark quietly asks, "Does Debbie know any of this?" The detective replies, "No, Debbie knows nothing." Mark lowers his eyes and says sadly, "I should never have married Debbie. No woman in this world could ever replace Jocelyn." And with that tragic realization, the episode comes to an end. So friends, that was today's story. If you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.